Good evening and welcome back to UINDY TV News. I'm Ashley Ellison.
I'm Grant Kelly. President Donald Trump says he has signed a bill that will release the Jeffrey Epstein files. On Tuesday, the House voted a 427-1 to force the Justice Department to release all of the files, a near not unanimous show of bipartisan unity. Hours later, Senate fully approved the House bill. Several Epstein survivors watching from the gallery broke into cheers and hugs. The only no vote in the House came from Republicans Clay Higgins. The bill requires the Justice Department to release all documents within 30 days, with victim identities protected. The push picked up momentum after President Trump reversed course over the weekend and urged Republicans to support the bill. A Congress vote was not required to release the files. Trump could have ordered the release on his own.
The United States is turning up the pressure on Venezuela, announcing it will designate Cartel de los Soles as a foreign terrorist organization. The State Department says the group is led by President Nicolas Maduro and top Venezuelan officials. The department is accusing them of drug trafficking and fueling violence across the hemisphere. The designation takes effect November 24th and comes as the U.S. boosts its military presence in the Caribbean. This weekend, American forces carried out their 21st strike on what they called a drug trafficking boat, and the world's largest aircraft carrier arrived in the region. President Trump says labeling the cartel a terror group would give the U.S. new options to target Maduro's assets. But he added no final decisions have been made and said Venezuela would like to talk. Congress has 7 days to review the designation before it takes effect.
The United Nations Security Council voted Monday to approve a U.S.-drafted plan aimed at securing longer-term peace in Gaza. The vote showed worldwide support for the U.S. plan, which establishes an international board of peace. The board would govern Gaza temporarily and be led by President Donald Trump. It also establishes a stabilization force. Arab and Muslim countries supported the plan, and some offered to provide military support. The plan offers possibility of Palestine state under a two-state solution, but gives no timeline. Trump officials, including Ambassador Mike Waltz, pushed strongly for the passage. The Security Council vote was 13-0, with Russia and China abstaining.
More than 130 people suspected of being in the U.S. illegally have been detained in Charlotte, North Carolina. This comes as the Trump administration intensifies its nationwide immigration crackdown. DHS says 44 of those arrested have criminal records. The operation, called Charlotte's Web, has drawn criticism, even from the granddaughter of Charlotte's Web author E.B. White, after DHS used the children's book title to brand the campaign. Local officials say the city's crime rate has dropped 8% in the last year. However, local leaders are accusing federal agents of operating without coordination. DHS says more operations are coming, with Raleigh likely next. Nationwide ICE detentions are now at record levels. Nearly 60,000 people are in custody, most of them with no criminal conviction.
A panel of federal judges has blocked Texas' new congressional map, ruling Republicans illegally use race when drawing district lines. The court ordered the state to revert to its 2021 map instead. Governor Greg Abbott says Texas will appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, setting up a major legal fight that could impact control of the House in 2026. They noted that while the state is only on 40% white voters currently control more than 70% of congressional seats. With candidates filling already underway, the decision could quickly reshape key races across the state.
The U.S. Supreme Court announced Monday it will review the Trump administration's asylum policy. Under the new metering policy, potential asylum seekers get turned away before they even reach U.S. soil. Federal law requires the government to process asylum seekers if they arrive at a legal port of entry. An immigrant rights group and several asylum seekers filed a lawsuit in California challenging the policy. An appeals court sided with the immigrants, and the Trump administration appealed it to the Supreme Court.
William Fitzpatrick, a federal judge in Virginia, gave a blistering ruling on Monday. The judge said the Department of Justice engaged in misconduct in its case against James Comey. The government engaged in, quote, profound investigation missteps in bringing charges against the former FBI director, the judge found. Fitzpatrick said the misconduct led an FBI agent and prosecutor to potentially undermine the integrity of the grand jury proceeding. Halligan and Trump aid with no prior experience. The judge ordered the prosecutor to turn over the grand jury materials. She and the Department of Justice have appealed Fitzpatrick's due to district judge.
The FAA has announced they are lifting limits on flight takeoff reductions as staffing has started to rebound. Due to the government shutdown, for more than 6 weeks, air traffic controllers weren't being paid. Many stopped coming to work, creating a nationwide staffing crunch. That forced the FAA to cut flight numbers by 6% at major airports. But with the government now reopened and pay restored, the FAA says staffing levels have recovered. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy thanked controllers for keeping the skies safe during what he called the longest shutdown in U.S. history. The FAA is also thanking passengers and airlines for their patience during the disruption.
Jace, give us a little bit of a look what the forecast is going to be like this coming weekend.
Yeah, looking into at least today, rain is going to cause some problems throughout the majority of the night hours. Rain will be seen at least until the midnight area as things will begin to peter off after then. But the temperatures will stay pretty consistent in that high 40 to mid 40 degree area overnight. But the rain will cause issues for those of you looking to go out tonight, and for those of you going to high school football games tonight for some semi-state action. Rain will be prevalent throughout the night hours. As we look into the weather map right now, you can see there's currently the center over Nebraska, Oklahoma area, the Kansas area. It's currently pushing its way to the north. This will cause all this rain to head up through Indianapolis through at least the night hours. That will move out of the way and lead to some nicer days heading into the weekend. We'll get into that weekend forecast in just a little bit, but first, some local news.
The roundtable where no topic is off limits. NFL, NBA, MLB, college, you name it, we got it. We don't report on sports, we debate them. From legacy to greatness. From touchdowns to blocks at the rim. You decide who's right. Tune in to the debate at UINDY TV on YouTube every Tuesday at 6 p.m. or on Spotify at First Stop Sports. News. How much time we got? Okay. Coffee. I love coffee.
We're on the air.
All right. Good evening, I'm Chris Hammer, here to report the news for you. For your campus, local, and national headlines, UINDY TV News has got you covered. Wednesdays at 6.
Good morning, Greyhounds, and welcome back to your Wednesday show. We have some very exciting things to talk about with our very special guest.
So what do you find unique about UINDY, and what kind of pulled you here?
What are you doing?
Watching Good Morning Greyhounds every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m.
There's no shot. He has time to make that throw. There's no shot he gets away from that.
He's that guy, dude. He is that guy. When it comes to football, Mr. Football, right?
Not a chance he escapes the pocket like that, gets out, makes a throw on the run, on the dot. No way.
He's gonna do the same thing to Michigan. Watch it. 10-0 heading into Ohio State. I'm calling it.
You want to bet?
Let's do it.
I'm Caden Colbert alongside Jay Kelton for college sports, pro sports, everything Indianapolis.
A couple in Indiana welcomed a healthy baby under dramatic and frightening circumstances this weekend. Mercedes Wells, in active labor, was discharged from the Franchisan Hospital Health Crown Point despite telling staff she was ready to deliver. Her husband Leon rushed her to the hospital, but just 8 minutes into their drive, the daughter was born in the car. Family members say Mercedes pleaded for care at Crown Point, but her concerns were ignored. Doctors at Munster Community Hospital later took over and cared for the mother and the baby. The family is now calling for accountability. Franchisan Health Crown Point says it is investigating the incident, calling the video of the discharge deeply troubling and emphasizing to commit to patient care. The parents and their attorney plan to hold a news conference to discuss next steps. Both Mercedes and newborn are reportedly doing well.
An update on a story drawing national headlines. Homeowner Kurt Anderson was charged Monday with voluntary manslaughter after shooting a house cleaner who mistakenly arrived at his Whitestown home. Maria Flordina Rios Perez de Velasquez arrived just before 7 a.m. She was shot through the front door and died on the porch. Authorities say Anderson fired after seeing people at the door, but her husband insisted they never forced entry or made threats. Anderson claims he feared a break-in, but prosecutors say the stand your ground law doesn't apply because there was no immediate threat. He faces 10 to 30 years in prison if convicted and is being held in Boone County Jail.
5 Indiana lawmakers have come forward claiming that they were victims of swatting incidents. Originally happening on Tuesday, the VIGO County Sheriff's Office received a false email report stating someone inside a home of Republican Senator Greg Good was harmed. This is known as swatting and comes after President Donald Trump named Good while criticizing Indiana Republicans' failure to redistrict. State Senates Dan Dukline and Kyle Walker, Rick Niemer, and Spencer Deary have also said they have been threatened. Federal authorities are investigating to discover who is responsible.
President Trump is blasting Indiana Republican senators for refusing to move forward with mid-decade redistricting. Trump says he's very disappointed and claims Governor Braun wouldn't be governor without him. He also called GOP holdouts weak and urged voters to primary anyone who opposes the plan. Senate leaders say they don't have the votes to return in December. The Trump administration has pushed hard for new maps ahead of the 2026 midterms, even sending Vice President J.D. Vance to Indiana to apply pressure. Governor Braun responded on Monday, saying he spoke with Trump and remains committed to fair maps that support the MAGA agenda. Braun also criticized Senate Republicans for hiding behind closed doors and refusing to take a public vote, saying Hoosiers deserve transparency.
IU Bloomington is cracking down on Greek life, banning nearly all fraternity social events after a series of hazing reports. Several fraternities are already under investigation with multiple chapters on cease and desist following recent incident that left students hospitalized. IU police are increasing patrols and first-year students will no longer be allowed to move into Greek houses for now. Fraternities can still hold meetings, elections, and community service, but IU warns any violations could bring even tougher consequences.
AAA says this Thanksgiving will break travel records with nearly 82 million Americans, including almost 2 million Hoosiers, heading 50 miles or more from home. Gas prices are holding steady around $3.06 in Indiana, and AAA is urging drivers to prep early after handling thousands of roadside calls last year. About 6 million Americans are expected to fly, but cancellations could push more people to drive. Another 50,000 Hoosiers will travel by bus, train, cruise, or car. AAA says the holiday rush is all about people doing whatever it takes to see loved ones.
The annual 911 Slugfest recently took place here in the Circle City. UINDY's TV Amelia Dean went to the charity event and captured the action.
This 9/11 Slugfest, it's a charity for Make-A-Wish. It always has been a charity for Make-A-Wish. It's interesting because it's called the 9/11 Slugfest, but the first flight was the 8-second swoon the day that the towers came down. So a lot of people, like I said, they think it has to do with one thing, but really it's just the 9/11 Slugfest. Police against firemen. It's just a 3-minute brawl. Some people do it as a bucket list, and some people they do it and then they can't do it anymore because they get too good. Maybe they'll go on different levels. But yeah, it's a great time, a great reason to do it.
I started this event 24 years ago, so we started the 911 Slugfest, and it's still going today. This is our last show, this is our finale, and it's just time to move on to other things. Love this show, and hoping someone else takes it over.
I'm fighting out of Johnson County, Indiana, against my opponent. I think his name is Rick Baldwin. I met him. We've already chatted it up a little bit. I'm sure we sized each other up. And I think it's going to be a good fight. We seem pretty evenly matched.
I've been coming up here for a couple. This is my second event at this arena, and the ones that Kurt's put on here at Slugfest, I think this is the 4th one I've done with him.
I feel good tonight, yeah. Other than being cold, I'm ready to go. I've been training with Coach Damien over at Indie Boxing and Grappling for about 8 weeks or so, and been training with some Welsh boxers, so hopefully I can put it out there and put everything I've done out there in the ring. special, so it's going to be good.
Looking good, looking good. We've had some good matches. The most important thing, no injuries. And the thing to remember, these guys, you got guys fighting in this event today that worked a shift earlier today. And you got guys that fought tonight that'll work another shift in the morning. So that's the key thing, These guys are out giving it their all. They're not professional fighters, but they go at it hard. It's for a good cause, good charity. And yeah, it's just an awesome show.
What a cool event and a great way to raise money for a great cause. But Jace, I want to know about the weather this weekend. I know there's a lot of UIND sports games happening on Saturday, so what can we expect the forecast to look like?
Yeah, Ashley, we look into this weather map again. I mentioned this area of precipitation currently working its way through the Midwest and eastern part of the United States. This will work its way east of us after tonight. You see this area right here of no precipitation. That'll work its way into central Indiana for at least the next 2 days, providing some drier weather. Looking into the weekends, some rain still going to be possible throughout the night hours. Like I mentioned, that'll get out of the way though heading into tomorrow. And for tomorrow, UIND football playing on Saturday or tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So that weather will clear up and allow the field to dry. We'll see some sun pockets pop out as well on Saturday. That'll continue on Sunday as well, where the highs will remain around the 56-degree mark, and we'll see some pockets of sun throughout the day. But our next chance of rain will come on Monday. Looking back here at the weather map, this area right here of moisture in California will work its way to the east and eventually cause some issues heading into Monday and Tuesday. Some more rain chances will be prevalent. That hopefully will work its way out, and we should see a clear Thanksgiving, however, to enjoy. So next, we'll get into some sports, talk about UIND football as they host their first playoff game since 2018. Nate Long, next.
Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. Duh.
We'll leave it to our actual athletes. Watch UIND TV's live sports broadcast on GLVCSN and YouTube.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UIND Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you. And we would love to meet you, so you should come on out.
UIND Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
We heard both Ashley and Jace talk about sports. They're going to be big this weekend. But before we hit to football, we had to head to today. About 12 o'clock is when the UIND men's soccer team, all the way out in Kansas, and they'll be taking on McKendree. Now, when you look at McKendree, they lost early on in the season 2-3 to McKendree, but now they're in the regional, as you can see behind me, the 8 versus number 9 seed. Whoever wins will take on Fort Hays State. That game is going to take place on Sunday. But once again, this game is supposed to kick off at 2 o'clock. But now we move into football. We move into the highlights behind me. As you see, Gavin Sukup Okerson to start it off. The Greyhounds got the win 28-21 over Upper Iowa. This is the 4th straight GLVC championship for the Greyhounds. As you see, Sukup, who's had an incredible year, and he's been thrown around. Alonzo Derrick runs it in for a touchdown on this last play. And you continue in. Another big play to Marquise Gillum, you'll see in a couple of minutes as well. This Greyhound squad offensively is rolling, and you look at this as a whole, this is going to be a team that's going to be very hard to stop. As we mentioned, tomorrow, at home against Truman State, a team also the Greyhounds had faced early on in the season. That one was at McKendree, and the Greyhounds won 30-20. However, this one's going to be at home, and we need all of your support. 2 o'clock is the kickoff, so everyone come in to Key Stadium to watch the Greyhounds and get a big win. They'll be taking on the winner of Findlay and Minnesota State. And, if Findlay wins, they'll be at Findlay, but if Minnesota State gets the upset, then we will have the 2nd straight regional game here in UIndy, here at Key Stadium. As you continue to watch the highlights behind me, the Greyhounds had a great game against Upper Iowa, and they, like I mentioned, 4th straight GLVC championship. Some guys know nothing other than of winning. As now we'll move into the basketball season, and the Greyhounds and Coach Hetty and Kelvin Amoko get their first win of the season against Earlham. That was a big game for Camarlo Harris, and then also Tyler Parrish and Sean Arnold as they got the win 95-65. Get their first win of the season. They're now 1-2, and they'll be taking on Thomas More tomorrow right after the football game as well. As we move to some more men's basketball and then to women's basketball, they fell to Walsh. I believe it was yesterday, 75-68 in overtime. Leading the way for the Greyhounds was Gracie Poe and Amira Sapender. Both had 17 points in the loss in overtime. They'll be taking Ursuline tomorrow as well. And we look into the sports world of the Greyhounds. Another team that's coming up is a track team. And with a multiple, I would say national champion runner-up, a lot of high expectations for this track season. And our very own Latif Mustafa stops in to a little recap of the season.
With the first home meets coming soon, landing on December 5th and 6th, we took a turn onto the lane of UIndy Track and Field to see what their thoughts are about this upcoming season.
I feel excited about it. Energy-wise, depth-wise, we've grown the rosters, both men and women across the board. And I feel not just purely from a number standpoint, but the talent that we've brought in and added beyond just the numbers returning are a really exciting spot. The growth across the board has put us in an exciting position for accomplishing much more higher level performances on a regular basis during the indoor season. But then once we get to the postseason, there's a lot of potential out there to do exciting things as well. Just the more numbers creates more camaraderie, more energy across the board. Even at this point in the season, just watching from practice on a daily basis, each training group has a higher level of intensity, higher level of purpose. The returning athletes have stepped up with their leadership across the board. So looking to see that camaraderie carry over onto the track and the field this season. Certainly we want every athlete to have the opportunity to PR across the board through the regular season as much as they can.
I'm very confident in the team right now. I think we're having a great preseason training, and we've got a much larger roster than we did last year, and a lot of new talent coming in that's able to push our returning runners as well as develop the ones that are coming in. So I think we'll be going very far, possibly win conference. I think as long as we stay healthy and we don't overtrain, I think we're going to be fine.
UIndy Track and Field's first 2 meets will take place December 5th and 6th on campus in our very own ARC training facility.
Thank you, Latif, for that package. As we wrap up the sports world, we get into the world of the movies and live action movies. Moana comes to live action. Ashley has more.
Thank you, Nate, for those campus sports updates. Moving on to entertainment now, like Nate said, Disney has released the first teaser for its live-action Moana. Catherine Lagaya stars as Moana, answering the ocean's call, with Dwayne Johnson returning as Maui. The cast also includes John Toohey, Frankie Adams, and Rena Owen, with Thomas Kail directing. Disney says the film celebrates Pacific Island cultures. The new movie sails into theaters July 10th, 2026.
GameStop is letting customers trade anything for store credit for one day only. The promotion kicks off December 6th. For 24 hours, shoppers can bring in one item each in exchange for credit towards games, consoles, and more. Items must fit in a 20 by 20 by 20 box, and store employees have the right to reject any trade-ins. GameStop warns that certain things are off limits, including hazardous materials, weapons, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, live animals, TVs, and jewelry. Details on how much credit participants will receive will be announced closer to the promotion.
Things are about to get weird in Indiana next summer. Weird Al Yankovic is bringing his Bigger and Weirder 2026 tour to Ruoff Music Center on August 6, 2026. The 7:30 p.m. show promises a supersized comedy rock spectacle with fan favorite hits. Tickets go on sale Friday, November 21st at 10 a.m. The tour expands to 90 cities after playing 75 shows last year. Weird Al says, fans weren't sick of us yet, so we're just going to keep touring until they are. Special guest Puddle's Pity Party will open the show. Yankovic also has Indiana stops planned in Evansville and Fort Wayne.
A local holiday tradition is returning to the Circle City. The Festival of Trees at the Indiana Historical Society starts this Friday. The 7-week event will display over 80 trees representing individuals, families, and companies from Indiana. There will also be special programming, dining, and shopping options. More information can be found at indyhistory.org.
Dr. Grant Williams recently premiered his play Mac on the stage. Charles Foster got the chance to talk to the writer himself and one of the actors. Here's the story.
I'm standing right here where Mac, a play written by one of the Greyhounds owned Dr. Grant Williams, was performed this weekend. I got to sit down with him and some of the castmates to talk about what it meant to see his play performed on stage.
It was weird. It was a little nerve-wracking. I was very proud of the work, but you never know how it's going to be received by the public. If they'll be, I don't know, offended, turned off, annoyed, think it's dumb. And I'm not above saying I carry anxiety about my own writing and my own work. Will people like it? Will they not? So it was, I think the first time I saw it with a crowd, I was very anxious.
And with the crowd is an understatement, because the play itself actually sold out on both Thursday night and Friday night, while also still having a pretty big audience on Saturday despite a playoff eliminator football game. I talked with Mac himself, Lucas Griffin, on what it meant to be performing in front of that many people.
To hear that people were waiting in line because we were so sold out, seeing that we could place them somewhere, it made me feel really happy. It made me want to go back out there and start acting, do my best, and really put out the energy that I know the audience wants from me.
With Mac in the rear view, Grant Williams and UINDY Theater look forward to their next production, Next to Normal, that is auditioning December 3rd. With that, I'm Charles Foster from UINDY TV, signing off.
What a cool production, and that's not all UINDY Theater will be offering this year. Like Charles mentioned, auditions for Next to Normal will be held on Wednesday, December 3rd. All UINDY students, regardless of experience level or academic major, are invited to audition. Grant, one thing we didn't mention is that Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Next week, less than a week from today. What are your plans?
Well, I cannot wait for Thanksgiving. I'm going to get a chance to see some family that I've missed, catch up with some relatives, and just enjoy the day.
Well, family's great, but what food are you looking forward to?
Of course, the turkey and gravy.
Really? You like gravy in your turkey?
Of course.
I'm going to have to go the 8-year-old route. I love mac and cheese and mashed potatoes.
That's also not a bad route.
Soft foods like an 8-year-old or a baby. Love it. But I'm also excited to see my family. So can't forget that.
Thank you for tuning in to UINDY TV News.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and on YouTube at UINDY-TV to stay up to date on all things sports, news, and entertainment.
As always, have a good night.
And be safe, Indy.